Morning.
Good morning. I'm not on.
Yep.
Good morning and welcome to Reno Buddhist Center. I only waited because the part of the folks that who are watching this by streaming, if this isn't on, they don't hear anything at all. They just see mouth move. So, but I am happy you are all here and as well here, there. I don't know how you say that with the streaming, but we are so happy to see more and more real live faces in the morning. This is good in the Hondo. A positive step in the direction of normal gathering at the temple. Thank you to those at home, obviously, for tuning in and sharing our time together. One nice lady I talked to on the phone this morning, hopefully she's found me. If such a person has found the Sunday live stream page, there's an order of service there, and the Shoshinge chant that we're going to chant. These books are in the seat back pocket in front of you. I don't know, I haven't been on an airplane in a long time, but I remember something about a two-fingered gesture about something. It wasn't the seat back pocket they gesture about. It's probably...
Exit rows.
Oh, exit rows. I'll take airplane trivia for 500, please. Okay, so we will begin by chanting the 3 homages, followed by our Shoshinge and incense offering. Although we are still wearing face coverings, we welcome everyone to quietly chant along as you feel comfortable within your mask space. For those of you who are new to the temple, the Shoshinge is a book bound in a Japanese fashion, so it opens this way, and page 1 is here. So that might be slightly confusing unless you look at it. And then when we chant, we start here and work across. So I would tell you if that's left or right, but since it's upside down and backwards for me, really dicey if I do that. So fortunately, my script says that the Shoshinge is chanted right to left in vertical columns. So the most important thing is to feel that positive energy being generated by all of us chanting together, even quietly. Shinran Shonin is the founder of our lineage. His picture is there, the one with the big white tassels. He wrote the Shoshinge about 800 years ago, and in it he compresses his experiences and insights with Pure Land Buddhism into one pleasant, long poem. He is certainly with us today. I'm sure of that. And in it we realize the principles that guide our lives. Shinran wanted us to know that more than just a simple journey from cradle to grave. Shinran wanted us to know that our life is more than just a simple journey from cradle to grave. We are part of a long, unbroken thread of life, which extends deep into the past. And we are responsible to extend that thread into the future. So, on the back of the page, there is more writing. I mentioned incense offering, did I not? Okay. So the incense offertory table is here, the Oshoko altar, and everyone is encouraged to offer incense. So if one was new or even just visiting for some reason, it is good to come and offer incense here. If we could be orderly about it because of the pandemic-y stuff, so it would kind of go from the front row and the next row and the next row and the next row. Just do it in a logical, natural fashion. There will not be a hall monitor or anyone to make that work. But people at home can offer incense wherever they like. And if you don't have incense, or if you're somewhere where burning things is not allowed, we offer water or food, anything you can offer to the Buddha. The Buddha symbolizes the great teachers in your life, or rather the great teachers in your life embody some aspect of the Buddha. So if you're new and you offer incense, just thank your favorite teacher, and that will do the same thing. If you've been involved with Buddhism for many, many years, or your whole life, or many lifetimes, then obviously you'll offer incense and have great gratitude for all the wisdom and compassion the Buddha has supported you with through so many trials. The burning of incense symbolizes transcending our selfishness and becoming one with all. We also have two other altars in our hondo, in our main hall. On the south side, there is the Kannon altar, and Kannon Bodhisattva is the Bodhisattva of compassion. So we light a candle there and ask for compassion for someone who really needs it, or ourselves, or someone even very distant, even a large group of people very distant who need a compassionate ear to listen to their cries. That's that altar there, very popular altar. Or, and even more popular now with the troubles we've been going through for the last year, on the north side, we have the Medicine Buddha altar. The Medicine Buddha is blue. It's a long story, I'll explain it later. You can offer there in request health, or healthful energy, or healing energy, or if one was in a healing profession, one might go there and make a special bond. So that is the Medicine Buddha altar to the north. Here in the east, even though Amida Buddha's Pure Land is in the west, we won't quibble about that. Because in space, which way is west? You know? Do you ever think about it? I'm sure George has thought about that because he's a great fan of the universe. Amida Buddha here offers boundless wisdom and compassion to us all. So please offer incense with an open heart and deep gratitude to all your teachers.
Shoshin Nembutsuge. Oh. 3 homages. Sorry. Got ahead of myself. Buddham Sarana Gacchami Dhammam Saranam Gacchami Sangam Saranam Gacchami. 昇進念仏芸。奇妙無量寿如来。南無不可思議光法蔵菩薩に自在世自在応武将刀剣勝負浄土院国土人伝自然幕本流無常主将願長法慶右大偶勢高校しよい師匠十十世名称文字法不法無量無変更無下無体公園の少女歓喜知恵子不断難知無償子超日学校小人生一切群上無交渉本願名号少女語死神信行願人上等学書大涅槃非死滅道願成就如来所意公衆生唯世弥陀本願会五辱枠自群上会往生如来両実言の法一年喜愛心無断煩悩特涅槃本性逆法再永流領収侵入開一味聖主信仰上昇後非の水波無明暗頓内心臓死運無上不信じ信心天非尿に幸福運無運無しげ妙無暗逆心謙虚大狂気即を超税語枠主一切全幕本部人門心如来偶税願仏言古代小芸者税人名踏んだりけ弥陀部本元年部社謙虚満楽修上信行十字人に難中止難昔インド最天子論下中華自治域史こそ現代諸公聖書意妙如来本税大き釈迦如来両河線一種五妙難天軸流樹大事出頭世出の財波有無権先世大乗無情法召喚議事小安楽賢治難行六六信行異行指導楽億年弥陀部本願次年即時流筆上唯の上昇如来語法法大悲偶税音天神菩薩増論世奇妙無下根如来平衆たら謙信寺高専王朝大聖願こういう本願力栄光移動群上小維新記入空読大崩壊筆脈入大英収集特使連芸造世界即昇進用法昇進有望の人間人図入賞自音自王下本自動乱両天地上皇乱消防さらい三蔵ルシ十条教本書専業気楽法天神菩薩論中下報道因果見世願方言栄光ゆたりき少女死因唯新人枠前本部新人法承知承持即涅槃非死無量光明道小宇宙上回復系 同社継承道南省有名浄土活入万全自力変言宗円満特語感染症三風三神慶音言増魔法明道非因一生増枠地偶税死安よ解消明化全道独名部所意法愛上三よ逆枠公明明語権威年介入本願大地会行者小樹金剛心狂気一年総合用意大東逆三人即所保障市上楽原神公開一大教返帰安養管理祭先祖出身反戦人法家二道小弁流極重悪人唯勝部外薬剤非正集中煩悩証言水不見大非無心上昇が本次元空明仏教連民全幕本部人新宗教書後編集戦弱本願具惑星現代生じ臨伝芸慶地義上位少子即入弱上無意楽非知信寺に納入苦境大自主使徒上祭無変極辱枠同族自主具道心唯家心しこそせナムアミダアムナムアミダアムナアムアミダアムナムアアミダブナアムアミダアムナムミダジョブのこの方は今に自己をたまえり星のこうりえぬきわもなくせのもみょうを照らすなりナムアミダアムナアムアミダアムナムアミダブナム 아미다 암부 나무와 아미다부 나무 에다 노고린 기와 모나시 어서 그 가무르 모노와 미이나 의무와 하나르토 너메타모 어우 여우도 가그니 기묘세요 에코 안니시 구도 그 묘도 세이사이 도모다이신 오조와 안라고 남만다부 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 I would like to invite the children and any parents who would like to join in to Dharma School out on the front lawn with Reverend Matthew this morning. Oh, goody! Oh, what was that? That's a cool jam. I don't know what that was. Let the Buddha walk with you. Let the Buddha walk with you. Let the Buddha walk, just walk. Let the Buddha walk with you. Let the Buddha walk with you. Let the Buddha walk with you. Let the Buddha walk, just walk. Let the Buddha walk with you. Let the Buddha walk with you. Let the Buddha walk with you. Let the Buddha walk, just walk. Let the Buddha walk with you. Good morning.
Well, it is so sweet to see so many more faces. So welcome, old faces and new. Today's reading is from the Chana Sutta, titled To Chana the Wanderer. Thus I have heard. On one occasion, the Buddha was staying near Savatthi at Jeta's Grove in Anathapindika's monastery. Chana the Wanderer went to Venerable Ananda. He exchanged courteous greetings and sat to one side. As he was sitting there, he said to Ananda, "Do you too, friend Ananda, advocate abandoning aversion, the abandoning passion and delusion?" Yes, friend, we advocate the abandoning aversion, passion, and delusion. But, friend Ananda, what are the drawbacks of aversion that lead you to advocate abandoning it? And what are drawbacks to passion and delusion? In a person driven by aversion, their mind is bound up. They are really overcome with aversion, and they unknowingly will, for their own detriment and that of others, they experience mental stress and sorrow. But when aversion is abandoned, they lose the intention that harms self and others. They don't experience mental stress or sorrow. A mind bound up in aversion engages in unskillful action. They say unskillful things, they have skillful thoughts. But having abandoned aversion, they do not engage in bodily misconduct, untoward speech, or unskillful thoughts. In aversion, a person's mind is bound up, and they do not discern well. They do not see what actually is, what is of value to them, what is of value to others. But when they abandon aversion, they do discern. They see things as they actually are and see what is of value and is not for self and other. Aversion, my friend, makes you blind. It makes you sightless. It makes you ignorant. It dissolves your judgment. So we see it brings trouble and does not lead to unbinding or spiritual growth. And so with passion. It binds the mind. It can overcome you and make you have detrimental thoughts to yourself or others. Passion brings mental stress and sorrow. And overcome with passion, we engage misconduct of body, speech, and mind. Passion robs us of our judgment and our ability to see things as they really are, to see what is of value to self and to others. Abandon passion, and you will not have such thoughts, and you don't experience mental stress. Leaving passion behind, you do not engage in misconduct of body, speech, and mind, and you can discern what is of value to yourself and others. Passion, my friend, binds us. It makes us ignorant. It brings trouble. It does not lead to unbinding or spiritual growth. And delusion, it too binds the mind and overcomes us. It brings detrimental thoughts and experiences of stress and sorrow. It brings misconduct of body, speech, and mind, where we don't clearly discern things as they are or what is of value. Delusion, my friend, makes you blind and ignorant, clouds judgment and brings trouble. Delusion does not lead to unbinding or spiritual growth. But when you abandon delusion, you do not have harmful thoughts, don't experience mental stress or sorrow, do not engage in misconduct of body, speech, and mind. And again, you can clearly judge a thing as it actually is and what is of spiritual value. So seeing these drawbacks to aversion, we advocate abandoning aversion. Seeing drawbacks to passion and delusion, we advocate abandoning them as well. But is there, friend, a path? Is there a way to abandon aversion, passion, and delusion? Asked Chana. Yes, my friend, there is a path. There is a way to abandon aversion, passion, and delusion. It leads to unbinding and spiritual growth, the Noble Eightfold Path. Just right understanding, just right thought, just right speech, action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, and just right quietude. This is the path, and this is the way to abandoning aversion, passion, and delusion. It is an auspicious path, my friend Ananda. It is an auspicious way to abandoning of unskillful mind states. So, just be mindful. Now, we will have a few moments of meditation accompanied by peaceful music.
Thank you, Jack. Our meditation today will be more of an active meditation through chanting, and I welcome all of you. That's why you have a little strip of paper that has the chant, the 4 immeasurable attitudes. And so we will be chanting these repetitively for a little while and get into a nice, gentle rhythm. So please join in or sit and just let it soak in, whatever, it's up to you. Maha Brahma Viharas. May all beings have happiness and its causes. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings never be separate from the supreme joy that is Amida Buddha. May all beings abide in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all beings have happiness and its causes. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings never be separate from the supreme joy that is Amida Buddha. May all beings abide in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all beings have happiness and its causes. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings never be separate from the supreme joy that is Amida Buddha. May all beings abide in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all beings have happiness and its causes. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings never be separate from the supreme joy that is Amida Buddha. May all beings abide in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all beings have happiness and its causes. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings never be separate from the supreme joy that is Amida Buddha. May all beings abide in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all beings have happiness and its causes. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings never be separate from the supreme joy that is Amida Buddha. May all beings abide in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Wonderful. I think we generated lots of equanimity energy just now. which is the whole idea. Let's delve into more of that with the Dharma talk. To turn on my technology. So welcome. It is just fabulous to see more and more people coming into the temple. It just means that things are relaxing and we're getting back to some kind of sense of what feels good in our lives and moving forward. So just feels so much better. And the flowers are blooming. We have a beautiful ikebana arrangement there of blossoms and tulips, and just walking around the neighborhood seeing all these blooms does bring joy. So take time to do that. It's really important. Our dear members are coming out to help with the grounds too. We had our lawn mowed. It looks so much better. If anyone's interested in coming to weed or prune, please call the office, and we always welcome those two to help, because it's a definite temple effort to keep everything looking good. We always receive so much generosity from our members, so we really, really appreciate it. We have been slowly reopening and welcoming people back to RBC through our in-person hybrid services. We've been going strong the whole time, but now that we're opening more, it feels better. We also offer in-person classes here, various yoga classes, and a women's group, and meditation. So you're welcome to come and join in as you feel you are able. So, what spurred the need for this Dharma talk was a series of conversations I've had with folks in the community. They seem to show that an unrealistic aversion to gatherings and risk has kind of set in. So we probably should talk about that a little bit. People were making some unbalanced decisions. More than one person I have spoken to, after having been vaccinated, and our local infection numbers are coming down, they said that they fear getting sick at all, so they're just going to stay home. And that feeling is generated through the media and other things, just having an aversion to coming out and being with people. This is not a healthy attitude, and we should address it, talk about it. If we are averse to any risk, then most of life's joys are separated from us. We would not maybe have a pet because we're afraid that that beloved pet will die before us, which they often do. We would not have friends or the blessing of children and family because it increases our exposure to the risk of tragedy. This is not a skillful way to look at life. The Buddha taught his Dharma to lead beings to a more joyful life. An important part of this is his insights into what causes us to live in a joyless way. If we want to end up suffering or experiencing dukkha, we have to stop it where it begins. We can only stop them by having clear understanding. What are the causes and how do they work in our mind? The Buddha devoted a good portion of his teaching time to illustrating, explaining, and propagating the truth of the origin of dukkha. Joylessness originates within ourself, in a fundamental illness that permeates our experience of life. It causes disorder in our mind and corrupts relationships with others into sources of getting what you want. The signs of illness can be seen in unwholesome mental states, what are called kleshas, or mind poisons. The basic three of these kleshas are aversion, attraction, and delusion, as was mentioned in the reading. Aversion is the response of negation, rejection, repulsion, irritation, condemnation, hatred, anger, harm, and violence. Attraction is our self-centered desire and wanting pleasure and possessions, the urge to feed the ego's power and status and prestige. Delusion is mental darkness, the thick coat of insensitivity blocking out clear understanding. And I should mention that in the Mahaparinirvana Sutra, the Buddha listed over 50 specific mind poisons. That's a lot. From the 3 basic roots grow other defilements. I'll just list a few: conceit, jealousy, ambition, laziness, arrogance, and the rest. So from all of these defilements together comes the joylessness of dukkha, suffering, in its many forms: pain and sorrow and fear, discontent, aimlessness, drifting through the rounds of births and deaths. Aversion is a real obstacle to experiencing peace. This is what the Buddha taught. What did the Buddha actually mean by aversion? And more importantly, with guidance, what guidance did he give us on how to overcome aversion? There is great simplicity in this teaching. If you just remember one thing about Buddhism, remember this: the Buddha saw that people have very distorted views of the world around them. Simply put, aversion happens when we overestimate, we mentally project the ability of something to bring us suffering. The opposite is true in attachment. We badly guess at the ability of something that brings us happiness. The word here is guess. It is a core delusion distorting the present moment and projecting qualities onto people and things which simply do not exist in the way we think. For instance, broccoli. In aversion, we overlay a negative image, right, Will? Over all broccoli, wrongly believing we need to eliminate it to reach peace or happiness. Broccoli isn't hurting you. The delusion that broccoli is bad is the crux here. What is aversion? Overestimating the suffering a person, thing, or experience will cause you. Aversion is believing you cannot possibly be happy if such and such is in any way present. We all struggle with aversions to people, ideas, and even uncomfortable feelings. We project that it's that person who makes me unhappy. But with close reflection and mindful examination, we can see in reality it has more to do with our reactions, not as much to do with others or the situation. I want to say sometimes we are not overestimating the suffering something can bring. There are conditions that do cause harm to people and that can and should be avoided. A balanced view of aversion understands this. Having aversion to cruelty, to environmental damage are healthy aversions. But really, most of the time, when we are repelled by something, it's not that bad. And our imagined harm is mostly mental projection in the fictional variety. We skillfully apply the middle way, understanding our suffering of aversion too. We can improve our outlook and enable happy, healthy lives by shifting our perception. When we first hear Buddhist teachings, we think we're supposed to become a superhuman, enlightened person. An imperturbable Buddha who absolutely nothing can harm, because the well-trained mind is this powerful. Maybe we can eliminate all suffering just by reacting differently. If we look closely at the Buddha's teachings, he doesn't say that. Buddha's teachings, he often admits that even after awakening life is a bumpy road. Not to be thrown by the bumps. There will still be pain, but we won't suffer it. There will still be an imbalance, but we can regain that balance. We won't lose our center. We can reach equanimity. Equanimity is what he experienced and what he promises for us. And the opposite of aversion, attachment. Attachment happens when we overestimate the happiness a person, object, or experience can bring us. Attachment is very close to addiction. The object of your attachment becomes something you just can't live without. You need it on a regular basis. These are things and people you are compelled to pursue falsely in the name of happiness and satisfaction. If I just get that new sports car, I will be happy, finally. The core delusion here is misidentifying things that will not bring any lasting happiness. Things that likely will bring suffering and distress, like your now $900 monthly payment for that sports car. But we think they will make us happy. When do you get what you want? Their power to make you happy diminishes each time, and each time you'll need more and more and more. We have all experienced this, right? We have. The Buddha counsels us to look closely, apply mindfulness to the process of craving and attachment. It is possible to realize that happiness doesn't come from the object of attachment. Think about it. We do put so much time and effort into craving and pursuing. We imagine the obsession will make us happy, but it leaves little time to cultivate the real cause of happiness and peace, which is equanimity. If we frantically pursued enlightenment with the same enthusiasm as we pursue our hobbies, we would all be enlightened in no time. Please don't misunderstand the Buddha. He is not saying we should have no connections to others. There are very healthy connections. There are healthy connections to caregivers is important to a child's development. Healthy connections to partners, friends, and community also play a big part in the spiritual life. That is why we gather at the temple. But the key is understanding the limitations of relationships. It is overestimating the happiness they can bring that causes all the problems. Then it becomes attachment. And just like with aversion, obsessive and addictive qualities start to appear. We begin to identify the self with the obsession, and the unhealthy consequences follow. Buddha's wisdom lives in realism, not in pessimism, not in optimism. All situations need a healthy dose of wise understanding. There are limitations. Just ask, what degree of happiness is possible here? You don't have to give up all the people and things you love to experience this inner peace. Just understanding the reality of the situation and settling into equanimity. Buddha actually tried to give up all connections. He left his kingdom, his friends, and family to meditate constantly in the forest with wise men, eating very little and bathing never. But he eventually discovered that extreme was to be avoided as well. It made him weak, his mind became impaired, and he was no closer to enlightenment. He recommended a middle way, avoiding the extremes of aversion, austerity, and poverty, and the other extreme of attachment, self-indulgence, and addiction. The middle way gives up the extreme of believing. Brief pleasure is lasting satisfaction. It rejects the idea that giving away everything will bring you peace. As Ananda explained in the sutra reading, the middle way gives up aversion and attachment, letting go of passion and delusion, and we find equanimity. It is powerful and important to understand that your partner cannot make you happy. That is your responsibility. Take responsibility for your own happiness and don't rely on others to provide it for you. That is a gross overestimation. They have their own struggles and challenges. A relationship can be a joyful partnership, but it will degrade very quickly if you blame them for your suffering, aversion, or rely on others for happiness, attachment. Aversion happens when we overestimate the ability of something to bring us suffering. Attachment happens when we overestimate the happiness something will bring us. Equanimity is when we are realistic about life, ups and downs and all. In the sutra, our friend Channa could see the deep and profound implications of Ananda's teaching. So he asked the hard question, how do we do it? First, we acknowledge that happiness or suffering does not really depend on outer circumstances. Objectively, things happen. Then we assign their meaning and bias the experience with our mind. The way our mind perceives and experiences people and things plays the largest role in our happiness. This is an important insight on the spiritual path. Acknowledge that. Reflect on that. Take it in. Embrace it. In reality, things are never all bad or all good. With mindfulness, we can see the good in the bad and the bad in the good. Let wisdom in and avoid the extreme views of allies and enemies. A vast complex of causes and conditions flowing together is the truth of actual reality, not good and bad. Please gently reduce aversion. Where you experience it, when you see it, let it go and cultivate equanimity. That means not getting too excited about things conventionally labeled good and not getting too depressed about things conventionally labeled bad. We learn to avoid the binary judgment and evaluation of simplistic labels. Challenge yourself to leave your comfort zone and try things you've had an aversion to in the past. Broccoli, or Brussels sprouts, or fear of heights, or, I don't know, coming into a crowded room, whatever that is. It's not as bad as you have made it in your mind. Moving toward equanimity will take mindfulness. And the opposite, rest your attention on something that brought you great joy in the past. Recognize that as you get what you want over and over, it no longer has that same giddy effect as it did at the beginning. For instance, like before our children came into our lives, Reverend Matthew and I really enjoyed going to Star Trek conventions. Fun fact. And in the beginning, we made our own costumes from scratch, and we just got into our characters and did the makeup and joined these costume contests. And I even won one time, and the Klingons next to me were really, really mad. Run away from the Klingons. Anyway. But after a few of these conventions, they kind of lost their giddiness, their excitement, their shine. That's kind of the way things are, So you have to create new experiences, but don't attach to them too hard, So that's just life. And that's the exciting part of life, is just being mindful of creating these experiences and how do you react to them internally. Just watch yourself. Being mindful to things that scared you in the past when you were young. Do they bother you as much anymore? Happiness and suffering we thought were brought on by things and people actually respond to our mind state much more. Our mind shapes our experience. Cultivating equanimity is living in the middle way. Finally, try this mindfulness meditation. Sit calmly and center yourself. Cultivate a feeling of abiding joy. Warmth and satisfaction in the moment. Just satisfaction in breathing. Joy in sitting. Doing nothing. Find the natural joy of just being. This is our powerful way to discover the peace beyond transient plus or minus conditions. Every one of us has the potential within, right now, to experience the peace and joy of equanimity. You have Buddha nature. What you are searching for is right here. By letting go of aversion and experiencing the joy of simply being in the moment, re-energize our Buddha nature. Let go of projections about shape. Let go of about false sources of happiness and suffering. Let go of the projections and overestimating of what will make you sad or what will make you happy. Settle into the abiding joy of living right now, right here. All of us together, supported by a wise and compassionate universe. Let's finish by wishing well to all beings. Please say after me. May you be happy. May you be free from harm. May you receive boundless compassion. And may peace and harmony fill your heart. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namo Laps. Namo Laps. Namo Laps. We will now have our temple song, Home in the Meadow, which you can find on page 49 of our Shoshinge book. And please, you're welcome to sing along. Home in the Meadow. As soon as it's queued up. Away, away, come away with me, where the grass grows wild and the winds blow free. Away, away, come away with me, and I'll build you a home in the meadow. Come, come, there's a wondrous land for the hopeful heart and the willing hand. Come, come, there's a wondrous land where I'll build you a home in the meadow. The stars, oh how bright and far, on a world of pure and eternal love. The stars, oh how bright they'll shine on the home we will build in the meadow. Come, come, there's a wondrous you so much. So we have some exciting announcements. First off, we will be having tea time downstairs in Haroma Hall. So if you would like to stay and come downstairs and have community time, Sangha time, and grab a cup of tea and sit and chat with our Sangha members, you are welcome to come downstairs. We will be celebrating birthdays. We have homemade birthday cupcakes from Aaron, our Sangha baker extraordinaire. So we will be happy to share those with you. We have Moon Rabbit Cafe. Oh, wait, before I jump to Moon Rabbit, we will have a newcomers circle downstairs in Haroma Hall. So Reverend Matthew will meet with anyone who is new and has questions, or even if you're not that new and you have questions, you're welcome to gather downstairs around a table and we'll figure that out downstairs. So we have Moon Rabbit Cafe next Saturday, and that is Everybody Loves Lasagna, which I'm pretty sure everybody does. We don't have an aversion to lasagna, do we? So it is provided to us by Alberto Gazzola of La Vecchia. So it will be absolutely delicious. And we still need helpers. If you'd like to volunteer, please speak to me afterwards or email the temple if you're able to help on Friday, the prep day. We could use your help, or on the day of Saturday the 24th, we could also use a couple more hands. So, and I think that is all my announcements. All right, we will see you downstairs, or see you next time, or see you at Moon Rabbit. Oh, share Moon Rabbit on your social media. We need to get the word out a little bit more. It's a little bit sluggish. So, spread it out. Thank you. Thanks. 4 o'clock, 4 to 6 next